What a depressing time to be alive. Food prices going up, housing prices going up. Everything is getting more expensive. Our country is a mess, our world a mess. Is there no competent solution to this maddening path? Are we really determined to keep making the same mistakes over and over again?
What's that?
Sounds like you were done with this self-destructive path we all are on.
Yeah, you can say that.
Well, let me assure you then, you do not have to feel depressed, nor anxious or frightened about it.
What do you mean? How could I not be? Our future, my future, is in jeopardy. We are literally creating things such as AI and nuclear weapons, which can end us as humanity. We have no control over our world or what's in it. Are you insane to even imply to not be worried?
Oh, we collectively have problems, all right, with our own web of problems within. Some problems we share with one another as humanity, as, for example, AI or a potential nuclear war. Some we share as peoples. Some are more unique to ourselves. But you know what? To all these problems, whether emerging technologies, war, or any other problem, we have plenty of experts who understand them and how to solve them. We humans made them. We humans can solve them.
Well, yeah, but where have the experts in AI or in everything else been then all this time? Our countries are run by shit-flinging chimpanzees. The world we all live in is falling apart. It just does not make any sense.
You are right. And there is a truly competent solution for our problematic world situation. An excellent solution even, with an excellent constructive path towards a vastly more peaceful and prosperous world. Would you like to become aware?
Sure, but I was actually on my way to something.
Just come along with me for a couple of minutes. Let me show you a humanity where they have established nothing less than world peace and world prosperity by 2025, having solved all problems related to our human needs in food, housing, healthcare, etc., and emerging technologies, as you are concerned about, and teach you about the related ideas which led to what they called their excellent world of tomorrow.
Look, that sounds fantastic. A bit too much, actually. We could never do that here.
Exactly the type of thinking which led to our current situation. When we think something positive to our world cannot be done, it will not be done, and we will not have a more positive world. We only give power to the negative amongst ourselves, the selfish, the greedy. But when we do not only think but act with more reality-grounded optimism, then the negativity in our world will increasingly subside.
Sounds reasonable. But world peace and world prosperity, that is a lot on my plate, man. I don't know.
Do your future self and loved ones a service and come along with me. You will feel far more positive afterwards. And in addition, you can share something legitimately powerful.
Sure, let's go then.
You might want to hold on to the bar on your right. And here we are. Before we land to begin about our excellent world of tomorrow and how to achieve, let me ask you something. Do you still remember the optimism of the 1990s? How there was overall more unity, not just as nations and internationally, but amongst families, friends, and communities as well. Far less political extremism, ambitious collaborations such as the International Space Station, and how there was more long-term perspective amongst those in influential positions with stronger sense of responsibility. The common good in mind to most. Reasonable accountability to those who faltered in their obligations. Then there was, of course, a more active United Nations, focused on bringing world peace and world prosperity. Clearly, there was far more peace of mind, joy, love, and bliss than there is now. Even to me, a child back then, was that truly wonderful world and its divine sensation palpable.
From the sound of it, but I was actually born in 2003.
2003?
Damn, that is hard to comprehend.
Your generation basically exclusively knows the decline of our world, don't you? The financial crisis of 2008, the insanely irresponsible enforcing of for-profit social media platforms upon us all since 2012, the political polarization and increasing fascism, again, The wars in the Middle East, the decline of the United States as leading nation, COVID-19. List goes on and on.
Yeah, pretty much. But there are also positive things in our world.
Of course there are. Take, for example, the fact we have become all interconnected through the internet. You could literally be anywhere on our wonderful planet, and we can talk to each other as if we were in the same room with one another, even in groups. In no historical time was that even remotely possible. Like mentioned before, we humans made these problems. We humans can solve them. With these two facts in mind, keep an open mind to what you will become aware of in our meeting, and realize we can practically turn our worldly self-destructive path into our worldly self-constructive path to establish, maintain, and further grow our excellent world of tomorrow. All right, now let's land this flimsy craft. And let's begin. We are standing here at the United Nations General Assembly of this diverging humanity, anno 1991, because in March of that same year, a paper by multiple renowned thinkers came out called The Excellent World of Tomorrow. This paper became their general framework for durable world peace and world prosperity. Now, to be absolutely clear on the context, this humanity is exactly alike in actions to ourselves up until this very paper. They had their Roman Empire just as we had, Tang Dynasty all the same, as well as their Declaration of Independence by their United States, and the Soviet Union, Berlin Wall fall, and the emergence of the World Wide Web. This paper makes the difference. They began this paper by stating how their world was a mixed bag at that moment, just like ours still is in 2025. Not theirs to emphasize some more. Their 2025 is vastly more positive. But back then it was, and they acknowledged the problems of climate, such as air quality and polluting industrial areas, and how there was hunger, even starvation, to approximately 1 billion human beings. Housing as well, with millions upon millions homeless, decaying infrastructures of all kinds, a lack of medicine to most, prices to healthy basic human needs provisions inaccessible to many as well, because, for example, there could be food in your environment, but the price for it can be unreasonably high for several reasons. And of course, there were wars, such as the First Gulf War, which ended not long before this paper came out. Then they mentioned secondary problems, which were not as severe as the aforementioned primary problems, but still recognized as problematic. These lists were not necessarily complete. Their goal with them was more to illustrate the root causes to these negativities in our world. Or in other words, the most fundamental problems, which are corruption and incompetence. Then they listed the general positives to their world, and thereby our world, which is our ability to collaborate, as, for example, the International Space Station. It could be anything. They meant the ability itself, as it solves problems we share, which could be solving hunger or war, etc. And then, of course, the ability to communicate across the entire world instantly, which vastly enhances the ability for collaboration and for understanding each other's situation. Our ability to compromise allows us to reasonably improve ourselves, our fellow man, and the common good. Then there is education, which allows to better understand ourselves, others, and the universe we live in, including our cradle planet, which we have spanned globally, with the highest till-date percentage of educated at that moment. Lastly, they mentioned science, which is the proof-driven methodical investigation of the natural and thereby ourselves, and has allowed us to, for example, massively reduce the amount of measles infections, or to cure cancer, or to provide psychological treatment. We are all surrounded by scientific produce, which is amazing because you do not want to live in a world where there are no vaccines or any other medical treatments, and would we not have been able to communicate at this very moment? This complete list is of course longer, but they wanted to identify the root causes to these positivities, which are honesty and competence. To be clear on what they meant with these terms, honesty as the acting of someone in society based on both the common good and self reasonably in mind. The opposite to honesty is regarded as corruption, where purely self-interest is in mind when acting in society with disregard to the common good and others' well-being. Competent means someone has the necessary skills and experience to act responsibly in a societal position, and incompetence is simply the lack of skills and experience to act responsibly
in a societal position.
Got it. But what does society mean then?
In one word, society means teamwork. Right? It is for the common good which we collectively benefit, such as road infrastructure which is created, maintained, and expanded by honest and competent road worker organizations, just like the picture on the left. If road workers and their affiliated organization were incompetent or corrupt in creation, maintenance, or expansion, then you get the roads as on the right. Corruption in this case could be buying cheap, unfit material but pretend to the ones who ordered the road that it is the right material for higher financial profits. They themselves gain more financially, but at the cost of the common good, fellow man, and future selves. Which means there is not teamwork, but teamwork. And that principle of teamwork applies equally as much on local level, such as town or city, to global and beyond. All teamwork.
We do not really work like a team in 2025, do we?
Clearly not. Otherwise, persisting problems such as hunger, housing, or war would have become part of our past years ago. But we can be, though, which is why you are here with me. If you want better awareness on the sheer difference between these terms and what it means for society and how society is teamwork, are here two perfect examples. This first one covers how an honest and competent mayor of a town gathered honest and competent city architects and other honest and competent organizations to turn an ugly, undesirable town into a beautiful, desirable town, all while remaining affordability as well. In other words, they worked as a team, an honest and competent team towards an excellent common good, enjoyable to everyone. And here is the opposite example, riddled with corruption and incompetence. After multiple years, what you see in the picture is the only produce of that advertised vision. Literally, that's it. Billions into the project, and that is it. Corruption and incompetence are cancer to any society. With society fully respecting honesty and competence across our entire world, is there no limit to our potential? Colonizing space, immortality, fully immersive entertainment, telepathy, galaxies and beyond can be conquered when we are honest and competent towards ourselves, our fellow man, and the common good. With corruption and incompetence as polar opposites, nothing. So, to get back on these enlightened men, their work, they then attached type of mentality someone can have towards others and the common good to honesty and competence and concluded also, or in other words, win-win mentality applies. Then added zero-sum mentality to corruption and incompetence, which means win-lose in relation to others and the common good. When someone acts generally from a win-lose mentality, or in other words, a selfish mentality, which derives from deep personal insecurities, let that be clear, then there's little to no regard for the well-being of others involved, or the common good. Now, as you can imagine, there are more specific cases in our world where it is not always as clear-cut, but we are talking generally and fundamentally here from a societal perspective. If you have any questions about these mentalities or the paper, then please feel free to let me know later on, all right?
Yes, we'll think of some.
Excellent. After having covered a list of the general positives and negatives at their 1991, with their root causes and individuals' general mentality, did they connect these root causes and mentalities to Maslow's hierarchy of human needs? Are you aware of this model?
No, never got this in school.
That is all right. We are here to learn. They should teach this in school. This model was proposed by Abraham Maslow, a clinical psychologist, to give a broad scope of the human needs we all share. Fundamentally, do we need food and drink, housing, sex, sleep, medicine, and mild climate? Followed by need for peace and financial security to meet the aforementioned. Of course, we also have social needs for love, belonging, and relationship. Self-esteem and status desires from there. And on top, self-actualization, which relates to, for example, hobbies, philosophy, spirituality, etc. Naturally, these needs are not always filled in perfectly, as in this model's hierarchical order. Someone could, for example, know love in their life while having difficulties in housing. What is important is that we have a society, a teamwork, composed out of ideas that fill in these needs excellent, which roughly means as close to our objective human needs as our scientific understanding, and from there, more practical understanding allows. For example, you nor anyone else wants Legionella in your water anywhere, or combustible housing, or an unsafe workplace, or medicine with severe side effects. Understand this firmly. Society and our lives are composed out of ideas. Bad ideas lead to a bad life. Excellent ideas lead to an excellent life.
Excuse me,
Yes?
what are ideas?
Yeah, that is important to mention. Ideas are mental directions and paths we make. For example, just before we met, were you going to somewhere, perhaps friends, which was an idea for a leisure activity? Another idea could be to spend the evening at home, watching movies. It is that mental light bulb turning on, as we know from cartoons. Ideas work as organizations as well, all the way to the entirety of humanity, of which, of course, most people would agree world peace to be an excellent idea. It is important that we minimize the amount of bad ideas, especially on physiological needs and safety needs, and replace with excellent ideas. Of course, to every human need we have. We have the knowledge, the wisdom, the competencies to make it happen. Now all we need are the excellent ideas which enable the development of other excellent ideas and which enables the realization of them into society as well. Which now brings us to our excellent world of tomorrow, where corruption and incompetence are systemically minimized, honesty and competence systemically maximized, and where you, me, our loved ones, our communities, countries, and everyone else has an excellent quality and quantity of life, which translates into world peace and world prosperity. Excellent world peace and world prosperity. The world's term is both the box and the how, and is achieved through these excellent key ideas. Mutually assured construction, which is the polar opposite to mutually assured destruction. Bureaucracy, which is the excellent governance system. And the World Constitution, which is the excellent foundational document to that world. It is these excellent ideas which unlock our full problem-solving potential to establish world peace and world prosperity, maintain, and build further upon. These ideas were not covered in this paper, though. Just a heads up. The topic of this paper was, of course, the box containing world peace and world prosperity. And that box was based on Tomorrowland by Walt Disney. Mr. Disney imagined a theme park land during the 1950s, which focused on an optimistic future where science, engineering, architecture, art, and all the other constructive parts of our world directly and fully contribute towards the land's citizens' excellent life. A truly peaceful and prospering land where all human needs, from physiological to self-actualization to all citizens, are met. No more hunger, war, homelessness, with beautiful cities, towns, medicine with little to no severe side effects, immortality, you name it. A truly wonderful land. Well, world, because land only makes sense in a theme park setting. To make such a place possible requires competence from our entire world in an honest, collaborative setting, and requires the establishment of excellent ideas while filter out the low-quality bad ideas. As mentioned before, our excellent ideas always grounded in scientific realities. The communication device right in front of you on which we communicate with one another across our entire world is a perfect example for an excellent idea which is very much grounded in science. Otherwise, this possibility would simply not have been possible. And just as importantly, not falter in the long term. A strong permanence of reliability to our world's human needs servicing.
Can you please explain to me why it is called Tomorrowland in Tomorrow World?
Sure. You mean the tomorrow part?
Yes.
While the exact reason was not clear to the authors of this paper, that they conclude on Walt Disney's vision for humanity to have filled in its entire potential for world peace and world prosperity to be beyond his own lifespan. To have honest and competent collaborations, communication, and scientific research systemically maximized across the entire globe, while corruption and incompetence systemically minimized to make that vision happen, would require technologies not in the vicinity of Mr. Disney's lifespan.
especially technology such as this. Mass and instant communication and information sharing technology, or ICT, which allows for communication and collaboration as if we are in the same room with one another. This ICT already existed in the year of this paper's publication, 1991, but not in the 1950s and 1960s. The way we go about our ideas, including excellent ideas, such as the smartphone and ICT, determines the quality and quantity to our lives, common good, and world overall. Because we can have an excellent idea, such as ICT or the smartphone, but if it is not established, maintained, or expanded upon, equally as excellent in our world, then the idea's quality may not be fully beneficiary to the quality of our human needs, or even be hurtful. Which brings us now to what these authors described as the pseudo-world of tomorrow. Pseudo meaning false, fake, pretentious, or not genuine. Thus, false or pretentious world of tomorrow. In the pseudo-world of tomorrow are two things going on you must be aware of. For one, powerful, excellent ideas, such as the internet, to be neglected or abused by governments or other powerful organizations. And two, pretentious ideas, promoted as they are the next big positive thing to our human needs, while they are what you may call a nothing burger, or just shit. Any excellent ideas which are abused or neglected in reality are flagged as to be in what they referred as in pseudo-state, which for example is our 2025 internet and social media platforms.
Can you please explain to me what social media in pseudo-state means?
To have a digital worldwide infrastructure which can facilitate in our social needs is of course excellent. For example, to have multimedia communication capabilities with family members regardless of location in our world, sharing videos and photos, or to creatively collaborate towards an art piece, or to educate each other just as we are doing now. But at the moment, do we have for-profit social media platforms seeking to maximize profits, even at the cost of people's mental health? Many youngsters are addicted to social media, where they receive information fatigue due to the sheer load of information processed every day, a lot of which very negative, resulting in doom scrolling, becoming anxious, depressed, and sometimes even suicidal from it all. It is now an echo chamber for extremist views as well, almost never grounded in the realities of a societal topic, just fueled by anger, bias, fear, and a lack of education. Combine it with people who seek to exploit these problems, and social media has become a catalyst towards a declining world.
All right, thank you.
This pseudo-social media would not have happened in our own world if our governments were more respectful to the internet, World Wide Web, and social media as ideas, having listened to related experts who warned about the dangers of social media to people's mental health already decades ago. And still, in 2025, are related experts sidelined by politicians and other influential parties who have the dollar signs burned into their eyes, having failed their world, their loved ones, and future selves, consequentially. Here are a couple more from the pseudo-world of tomorrow. Let's pick Theranos here, as it demonstrates school textbook levels of clarity about this pseudoness. The founder of the company Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes, asked one of her teachers, who was a medical expert in blood testing, whether more than 200 different medical tests could be conducted out of one drop of blood. The teacher clearly stated, "No, our current medical understanding does not allow for that, and may very well never be in the realm of possibilities." Given an entire multi-billion-dollar company was created from that idea, can we confidently conclude she did not like that answer and went for it anyway? She created a meritless device with no proof of concept whatsoever.
Can I please interrupt? What does proof of concept mean?
Proof of concept means the ideas you are promoting actually work.
Thank you.
So she had nothing, but manipulated investors and the public into thinking she actually had something. She and her team even bought much larger existing devices who could do actual blood tests, though not as much as she stated, to place in the background at demonstrations, pretending this device did the actual tests. Meanwhile, she enjoyed the ignorant public's fame, being on the covers of magazines, being on TV, etc. Eventually, she was caught and charged for fraud. It was literally doomed from the start.
Have heard of her. She was quite rich, right?
Financially, yes, for a while, but in others ways, not. She had problematic relationships with employees and boyfriends and was mentally unstable. You see, that is a serious problem in the United States at the moment. The people of that country has become so obsessed with financial richness and fame, it has become impoverished in every other way. Spiritually, community, socially, emotionally, mentally. The dollar signs are engraved into their eyes, becoming blind to grounded realities, how other riches are also important in life. Had the investors grounded their optimism a bit more in reality, requesting examination and feedback from actual experts, then they would have realized even before investing how this idea of her was a dud, which would have placed her into a better emotional and mental state as well. So far, Theranos. Now, let's grab OceanGate here. With OceanGate, was there a similar problem? The founder, Stockton Rush, was obsessed with fame, wanting to turn the wreck of the Titanic into a tourist attraction. Against the wishes of family members from the victims, of course, because that is how folk like him always work. All selfishness to the point of sheer recklessness, dragging multiple innocent and ignorant lives into the abyss. A 19-year-old boy, even. In this case, were there plenty of experts who warned about the dangers of his ideas and how he went about them, but still could manage to extract millions of dollars in investments to keep going. Do you think investors would have invested their money if they were fully aware of the endeavor's shortcomings?
No, probably not.
Well, there are always some deluded people, but any with a healthy mind, no. The same problems of zero-sum mentality applies to artificial intelligence as well. Along with Hyperloop, crypto coins, especially meme coins, pod-based transportation, and others. The problem is not necessarily the fundamental ideas themselves. Artificial intelligence has benefits to medical research, for example. There has always been a desire for more underwater activity, even underwater cities, such as Atlantis, which can very well be realized through materials such as transparent aluminum. Hyperloop may as well be possible, and definitely has a cool factor to it. Quite possibly a request for less blood to test. But if we go about them through a zero-sum mentality of selfish win-lose, with the benefit to the common good hardly more than a feature for a public pitch, ignore competent expertise in the process and are dishonest to financial investors, then all these ideas remain in nothing more than pseudo-state. In our true world of tomorrow, always in the ever tomorrow. Which brings us to the governance reliability threshold these authors established. Because none of the pseudo world of tomorrow or any other negative idea to the common good of our world and thereby our human needs would have manifested into our worldwide teamwork if we had a decision-making system which maximizes honesty and competence while minimizing corruption and incompetence, which concerns the full respectful inclusion of the human collective, including all our expertise and all the common good in governance decision-making. For example, OceanGate would have never become a devastating entrepreneurial endeavor had the community of deep-sea diving expertise be fully included in the establishment and execution of deep-sea safety laws, included for international waters as well. They are always humanity's waters. Safety of human beings logically always triumphs any formal establishment, as our formal establishments are in service to ourselves. When they are not, do they require improvement? The principle of fully including relevant expertise to systemically maximize competence and governance of ideas applies to artificial intelligence as well. We now have AI in our 2025, which gathers private information and even author-protected information without fully aware consent of the affected, which goes against the Universal Declaration for Human Rights, and where governance regarding AI across our world is too corrupted and incompetent to effectively and efficiently handle the situation. AI experts have opted for solid regulations for decades already, but the response is too tone-deaf, too unreliable. The Internet and World Wide Web as ideas as well. The first regulation towards the Internet and WWW in our world came in 2018 with the General Data Protection Rights, or GDPR, from the European Union, nearly 3 decades after the emergence of the World Wide Web. Then, there is honesty in matters such as OceanGate and AI. To turn the wreckage of the Titanic into a tourist attraction is considered disrespectful to many, including involved families. Artificial intelligence in general has benefits to the common good, as, for example, to support in analyzing medical research data, which in turn benefits better medication. But there are applications who are a burden to us as human collective, such as the inclusion of AI in cyber warfare, which deteriorates international relationships. To speak from us as the supreme human collective, are these types of applications nothing more than a burden, prohibiting world peace and world prosperity? And then are we not even talking about nuclear weapons and how extremely disrespectful their existence remains against ourselves through the strategic doctrine of mutually assured destruction? The authors concluded the ancient governance systems Aristotle mentioned, such as democracy, autocracy, aristocracy, but also republic, theocracy, and even the newer technocracy are not reliable enough to solve the pseudo-world of tomorrow problem and all other worldly problems. Reliability is the key word here, because as democracy has demonstrated, provides the governance system more reliability in, for example, food provisioning, but has the problem of falling into tyranny in the long term, aristocracy into oligarchy. A true autocracy and not a yellow, sprayed cat turd pretending to be gold, autocracy being extremely rare, and eventually falls into tyranny as well. Pretty much all of these unreliable governance systems fall into self-destruction where countless suffer deeply from. Because the teamwork of win-win to all society is not reliably secured in any of them. The thinkers argumented how back in their 1991, the establishment of the World Constitution, an idea back from the 1940s, took more than 40 years already. Thick shit through a funnel flows faster than these governance systems, and more honestly and competently as well. Of course, that was not their language, but, On a side note is, you will become aware in my message to you, democracy, autocracy, technocracy, theocracy, and republic hold an essence which, when combined properly, forms the true, reliable governance system called purocracy. Purocracy, in a nutshell, concerns expert-guided presentation of each human being in one's own web of societal stakes, including world peace and world prosperity, through universal stakeholder management with universal education. And with purocracy, can we establish the world constitution, and thereby the formal foundation for world peace and world prosperity reliably, time efficiently, and cost efficiently as well, just so you're aware. Back to this paper. As you would have guessed, does the excellent world of tomorrow, or in other words, the world of true peace and prosperity to all, naturally lay above the governance reliability threshold, where it logically meets excellent governance, which systemically maximizes competence and honesty while systemically minimizes corruption and incompetence, and the ideas which makes our world, and contains humanity collectively along with all its expertise. This will require, of course, a foundational world document, the World Constitution, along with a constructive strategic doctrine opposite to mutually assured destruction, which provides us focus to establish, maintain, and further grow our excellent world of tomorrow. Now you are aware on the world of tomorrow and roughly how. Let's cover the excellent term now, which defines the how. And you will understand why a term such as great does not apply or any other term.
Yeah, been wondering about that.
All right, let's dive into it. First, the term excellent stems from the Latin word ex, which means in English, beyond. Because as mentioned, lays the true world of tomorrow, beyond the governance reliability threshold. The entire title would therefore actually have to be based on this first reason for excellent. Beyond the governance reliability threshold will we find our true world of tomorrow. But, as this is rather lengthy, applies X with excellent better. Now, reason 2 has to do with excellent as quality degree, beyond great, good, decent, etc., and right below perfect, which is connected to science grounding, as mentioned before, connected to voicing ourselves in matters which affect ourselves, and to related education and ideation, which of course connects to our full hierarchy of human needs. Because, as mentioned multiple times already, do we have plenty of understanding in all of our human needs? Is there plenty of expertise about them all, as well as plenty of resources in our world to satiate them to all of us? Matter of honest and competent teamwork on every level of society. And perfectly possible, as you will become further aware through videos 2 to 5 of my message to you, and by extent, the entirety of humanity. All right, now, third and last reason for the addition of excellent to world of tomorrow, X, excellent. We have covered X to be English for beyond, and excellent applied as above great and right below perfect quality degree. true, objective perfection in society may very well never be possible in practical terms. But excellence beyond already excellent may. You see, our scientific understanding about ourselves and the natural universe around us is ever developing. And when we have developed a clearly better understanding of something to the benefit of our human needs, generally speaking, then best practice for society and the ideas it is composed out of would be to seamlessly grow along with. Excellent beyond excellent. In other words, a more profound degree of excellent. Thus, excellent.
But should the title then not include X?
Good question, but no, because X already exists within excellent and can furthermore not be generally applied, as excellent will not be universally applicable. Some parts in our world advance quicker than other parts. Thus, where we can speak of excellent in one part, may we very well speak of excellent somewhere else, or even excellent, which would be annoying to communicate. Excellent is just to communicate now to you that even though something in our world can develop beyond excellent quality degree, it will remain excellent. And that concludes this paper by these action thinkers. Did you get all that?
Let me see. Walt Disney envisioned in the 1950s a world where humanity collaborated towards world peace and prosperity to us all through his theme park Tomorrowland. But he did not know how, as this would lay beyond his own lifespan. And these thinkers defined a pseudo-form of that vision, and the true form along with generally how to establish, maintain, and further grow by focusing on solving the root causes that prevent us from solving problems, and by focusing on excellent ideas through competence and honesty across our entire world?
Whoa, calm down. But yes, that sums it up pretty well. The following parts 2 to 5 will elaborate upon this paper and will provide you, and by sharing with the rest of us humanity, the excellent general ideas on how we accomplish our excellent world of tomorrow. And you know what?
What?
That means the immigration crisis amongst North America, Europe, and elsewhere will have been solved without force and fiscally responsibly as well.
So all that with ICE...
Unnecessary.
Really? How about fascism?
That too.
Any extreme political divide amongst left and right?
We cannot undo the past, but we can look at our own shortcomings to improve for all our future. And trust me, left, right, center, and independent has them, as you will become aware. Together we can build towards bureaucracy, mutually assured construction, world constitution, and from there, world peace and world prosperity. There will be unity in both the process and result.
And what about AI?
We will have filtered out the ideas we collectively and objectively deem bad to our human needs and remain the excellent ideas which are beneficiary to them. In other words, the pseudo-world of tomorrow minimized, the true world of tomorrow maximized. That goes for AI as well.
How about grocery prices and housing?
Everything reasonable regarding our human needs, consequentially crime as well. And let me elaborate a bit further on the excellent world of tomorrow as we enclose this video. It further means that we as humanity and as peoples have control over our governments and other societal organizations such as charities and businesses. No longer tug of war between the organizations which purpose are to be in service to us all, respectively. They will be our instruments to our healthy human needs and will allow us to have responsible control over the parts of our world which affect ourselves and thereby allow us to heal as humanity, as peoples and individuals in emotional, social, communal, societal, mental, physical, and spiritual terms. The ideas which you will become aware of are so powerful they firmly understripe civilization, society, and humanity. We will have systemically completed society with them, and will have come whole as humanity. And not just short term of, let's say, 5 to 10 years, but long term of 100 years and beyond as well, quite possibly indefinitely, as you will become aware. Of course, not perfectly, let me mention that, but to a very, very high degree, yes. It will be a matter of just doing. No politicization, but critical, assertive, constructive action. And when done, even just the world constitution. Can we expand upon the 90s optimism, as mentioned before? And finally, continue the positive track we were on.
Can you explain that last part further about just doing?
In the rest of my message to you. Now, let's take a break. And thank you for your attention towards our healthy, normal world of world peace and world prosperity for your future's sake, your loved ones, and all of us humanity's sake, our self-respect. Please share with everyone you can. See you in message 2.